morning rush had barely begun when the construction site gate rolled open, and workers filed in with their helmets tucked under their arms. Dust lifted with every step, the metallic scent of iron and concrete mixing with the cold breeze. Among the workers was a young woman named Lena, wearing a faded jacket, her hair tied back and determination in her eyes. It was her first day on this new project, another job to pay rent, nothing more. A black luxury SUV stopped near the entrance, its engine humming quietly. Every worker paused. They knew the car. They knew the man inside. Mr. Alistair Ward, a billionaire real estate mogul known for running empires and ruling boardrooms with an iron fist, stepped out. Tall, sharply dressed, and carrying an expression carved from stone, he walked toward the site to inspect the progress. He was here only because the project was behind schedule. He hated delays. His security team followed him closely, but Alistair barely noticed anyone. His mind, as always, drifted to the one thing that haunted him daily. His daughter Emily, who vanished 7 years ago. She would have been 22 this year. Not a day passed when he didn't wonder where she was, or if she was still alive. He exhaled sharply and forced himself to focus, stepping into the half-built structure. Workers greeted him nervously. He nodded, barely listening, until someone, caught his attention. At the far end of the construction floor, kneeling beside a steel frame, was Lena. She brushed dust off her gloves, stood up, and pushed a strand of hair behind her ear. Alistair's breath stopped. Her face, her eyes, her smile. It was Emily, and it looked exactly like her. He froze, unable to blink. The world around him blurred. The sounds of drilling, hammering, shouting, all fading into nothing. For the first time in years, his hands trembled. "Sir, are you okay?" his assistant asked. Alistair didn't respond. He couldn't. Lena turned slightly, unaware of his stare. She lifted a metal rod and waved to another worker. The soft grin she gave him was identical to Emily's, the same tiny dimple on the left cheek. He stepped forward instinctively, his heart pounding like it was trying to break out of his chest. It can't be, but he had to know. Every step felt heavier as he approached her. "Excuse me," he said, his voice unsteady. Lena turned fully toward him, and Alistair's world stopped again. The next morning, the millionaire Adrian Hale arrived at the construction site even earlier than before. He told himself he was only there to inspect progress, but deep down, he knew the real reason. He wanted to see her again. The girl from yesterday. The one who looked like Emily. Workers were already lifting scaffolding and mixing cement when he stepped out of his black SUV. His eyes scanned the busy site impatiently. For a moment, he wondered if he had imagined everything. Grief could play cruel tricks on the heart. But then he spotted her. She was standing by the tool station, tying her hair into a ponytail before slipping on her helmet. The rising sun caught her face at an angle, and for a moment, his breath caught. The resemblance was undeniable. The same soft jawline. The same gentle eyes. Even her height matched Emily's at age 20. Adrian took a slow breath and approached her, trying to steady himself. "Good morning," he said. She turned and jumped slightly when she recognized him. "Oh, good morning, sir. I didn't expect you to be here again." Adrian studied her face closely. "What did you say your name was?" "Leah," she replied. "Leah Cole." He repeated her name softly under his breath. "Leah." She frowned politely. "Is something wrong, sir?" "Wrong?" Everything felt wrong. If Emily were alive today, she would be exactly the age this young woman seemed to be. But Leah couldn't be his daughter. Emily had disappeared 12 years ago. Vanished. Everyone said she had been kidnapped, and likely never made it out alive. But looking at Leah was like looking at a ghost wearing his daughter's face. Adrian forced a smile. No, I just wanted to thank you for helping me yesterday." Leah shrugged shyly. "Anyone would have helped. You looked like you needed a hand." He hesitated, watching her lift a heavy box with surprising strength. "You work hard." "I have to," she said simply. "My mom is sick and I'm the only one bringing in money right now." A pang of sympathy shot through him. Emily had always been compassionate, just like this girl. "Leah," he asked softly, "can we talk later today? Maybe during your break?" She blinked in surprise. "If you want to, sir." Adrian nodded, his heart thudding with a mix of fear and hope. He had to know the truth, even if it broke him. Mr. Harrington stared at Lily, still shaken from the discovery of the birthmark. His breath came unevenly, and his hands trembled as he reached for the small velvet pouch he'd carried for years, the only thing he had left of his daughter. Inside it was a tiny bracelet with an engraving, LH Daddy Star. He looked at Lily, his voice unsteady. Do you remember having anything like this when you were very young? Lily froze, her eyes widened, filling with emotion. I don't know. My mom used to tell me I had a bracelet when I was a baby, but it got lost before she passed away. Her voice cracked at the memory. Mr. Harrington swallowed hard. Your mother, what was her name? Emily Hart. The world around him seemed to spin. Emily Hart, the woman he had loved but lost because of a cruel misunderstanding and a painful breakup. The woman who disappeared while carrying his child. He suddenly felt weak, lowering himself onto a nearby crate. I knew her, he whispered. I knew your mother. Tears sprang to Lily's eyes. You knew her? My mom never talked about my dad. She said he wouldn't have wanted us. Mr. Harrington's face broke in anguish. No, sweetheart, that's not true. I searched for both of you for years. I hired detectives. I never stopped looking. Lily's breath caught. A soft, wounded whisper escaped her lips. You think I'm your daughter? He didn't speak. He simply held up the tiny bracelet. Lily stared at it, then slowly reached for a thin chain hanging around her neck. From it, she drew out a small charm, faded, scratched, and old. It was the matching piece. When she placed it beside the bracelet, they fit perfectly together. She gasped. Mr. Harrington covered his mouth, choking on a sob. It's you, it really is you. In an instant, Lily's knees gave out, and he rushed forward, catching her in his arms. She trembled as she whispered, Dad? He hugged her tightly, tears spilling freely. My daughter, my little girl, I finally found you. The factory lights flickered above them, but for the first time in years, the world felt bright again. Outside, workers paused, watching the emotional reunion. Inside, a father and daughter, separated by fate, were finally whole again.